Have you ever had that feeling where the harder you chase after happiness, the faster it seems to run away from you? Well, if you have, you are definitely not alone. We're going to get into this massive cultural shift that's happening right now, something we're calling the Great Wellness Correction of 2026.
Just let that sink in for a second. Stop trying to be calm. It's a huge paradox, right? The very act of forcing yourself to find peace is what's creating all the chaos inside. We're going to explore this whole idea through a really simple, but honestly powerful metaphor about sand in your own two hands. And I think the answer might just change how you see well-being for good.
So this is the big question, isn't it? For years, the message has been to optimize, to track, to biohack every single part of our lives to build a better one. And yet, all the data is pointing to the fact that this constant aggressive chase is actually making us more stressed and, less happy. So what's going on here?
To really get what's happening now, we have to take a quick look back. So in this first part, we're going to unpack the psychological traps of what we call peak wellness and figure out exactly why that whole approach was kind of doomed from the start. All right, so here's the first key idea. It's called psychological reactance. The easiest way to think about this is like your brain's inner rebel. You know that feeling when someone tells you to calm down and it just makes you even angrier? That's reactance. When you see a post that's like, good vibes only, or you tell yourself, I must be positive, a part of your brain feels controlled. It hates that. It sees it as a threat to its freedom, and it just automatically pushes back. So the command to be well actually creates the very resistance that makes peace impossible.
And then there's this other little glitch in our human wiring, hedonic adaptation. So you get the promotion, you buy the new phone, you finally hit that fitness goal, and yeah, it feels amazing for a little bit. But then, way faster than we'd like, that feeling just becomes the new normal. You adapt. This puts us on what you could call a wellness treadmill, where you need bigger and bigger wins just to feel that same little hit of satisfaction. It's totally exhausting, and honestly, it's a game you can't win.
And this timeline just shows how fast this all happened. It wasn't that long ago, right? Around 2020, we just dove headfirst into tracking everything. Our sleep, our steps, our heart rate. By 2022, that whole hustle and grind version of self-improvement was everywhere. By 2024, we were at the absolute peak of hyper-optimization culture. But then, look, just 1 year later, the cracks started to show. The burnout became so widespread, you just couldn't ignore it anymore.
So you take those two psychological forces, that inner rebel and that wellness treadmill, and you put them together. What do you get? You get a culture of what we call hard care. It's this idea that self-care is just another job. It's another thing on your to-do list to perfect and optimize. It's this stressful, never-ending project to become some idealized version of yourself that, let's be honest, is always just a little bit out of reach.
But here's the good news. We are finally seeing a correction. People are starting to reject that whole stressful way of thinking and are moving towards something totally different. And that brings us to the rise of what people are now calling soft wellness.
And the difference between these two worlds is, well, it's profound. Look at this. The main goal isn't about optimization and performance anymore. It's about safety and connection. We're shifting our focus from obsessing over clinical data and biometrics to actually regulating our own nervous system. And instead of that forced discipline, we're learning to listen to our intuition. The entire philosophy is shifting away from becoming a better version of you to just authentically accepting the you that's already here.
This right here, this is the key. The new goal isn't about chasing the feeling of good. It's about building the capacity inside of you to feel safe, no matter what emotion decides to show up, whether it's anxiety or sadness or even joy. It's about learning how to regulate our nervous system, how to calm that vagus nerve, which is basically the body's emergency brake, so that we can just sit with all the messiness of being human without totally panicking. So to really get a feel for this new way of thinking, there's this incredible metaphor that just perfectly captures the whole shift. It's called the open hand metaphor, and it's something you can almost physically feel as I describe it.
I want you to just imagine you're at the beach, and happiness is like a handful of that fine white sand. The old hard care way tells you to make a fist, to grab that sand and hold on for dear life. But what happens when you do that? The harder you squeeze, the faster the sand just streams out between your fingers, right? All you're left with is tension, stress, and way less sand than you started with. Okay, now imagine doing the opposite. Just open your hand, palm facing up. The sand just rests there, peacefully. That is soft wellness. It's about letting go of the fight, about fostering acceptance, and creating enough space in your life for well-being to just show up and stay.
I love this quote because it's the exact same idea. You can't run around chasing a butterfly trying to force it to land on you. It doesn't work that way. This is actually the core principle of a whole approach to therapy called acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT for short. It's all about stopping the war with your own feelings and just allowing things to be what they are, without all the judgment.
So this isn't just some abstract psychological theory. It is actively changing the world around us, and especially the kind of stuff we all see online. Content creators, brands, platforms, they're all adapting to this new mindset and fast.
So what kind of content actually resonates with people in 2026? Well, it often starts with those paradoxical hooks, just like the one at the beginning of this explainer. They get past our brain's natural resistance. Authenticity is everything now. The perfectly polished, curated life is out. Showing the real, unpolished, kind of messy parts of being a person, that's what's in. And crucially, content that just admits that life is hard actually does better than content promising a quick fix, because it makes us feel seen. It's all about integration now, helping us accept our so-called imperfections as part of the whole picture, not as flaws we need to erase.
If you take one thing away, let it be this. The whole grand project of constant self-improvement is coming to an end. We're no longer trying to optimize ourselves into these perfectly functioning machines. Instead, we're finally learning how to integrate all the parts of who we are, the good, the bad, the messy, into one complete, authentic human being.
And that kind of leaves us with one last question, and this one's for you to think about. After everything we've talked about here, the paradox of chasing happiness, the freedom of that open hand, if well-being isn't some destination you have to arrive at or some prize you have to win, what does being well truly mean to you in your life? What does it actually feel like?